and welcome to Beyond Markets. I am Christy Cole. Many thanks to you for joining us. Today we bring you the conversation from the Nigerian Customs Service, where we talk the border closure of the country and exhaust all its ramifications. You can join the conversation by following us on Twitter at CNBC Africa. Use the hashtag Beyond Markets. I am at Christy Cole P. I am joined for this conversation by none other than the Deputy Comptroller Customs, Mr. Joseph Attah. Many thanks to you, sir, for joining us on Beyond Markets.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Border closure for Nigeria. Why?
Let me start by qualifying the word closure. It's partial border closure, not total. To the extent that human traffic is being allowed as long as you have your documentation, you have passport, you have national identity card, and even the ECOWAS biometric card. Any of this can allow you to go out or come in. So it's partial. But as it pertains goods, there are restrictions. And why? The idea that some of our neighbors somewhat find it convenient to be in non-compliance with the ECOWAS protocol on transit has tended to increase the trans-border economic and security challenges that this great nation has been contending with in the past few years. What do we mean by ECOWAS protocol on transit? The ECOWAS protocol on transit mandates a receiving country to provide security, provide escort. What that means is that if, for instance, a container arrives at Cotonou port destined for Nigeria, the Benin authority, we collect whatever tax, if there is, I don't know. After that, they are to provide escort. I repeat, provide escort without tampering with the seal, meaning that the container will not be opened. It will be escorted to the border of the destination country, in this case, Nigeria. It is the Nigerian Customs Service who will now receive it, open the container, examine if all that are inside are indeed what the law allows to enter this country. But over a period of time, they have not been in compliance with the dictates of this ECOWAS protocol on transit. A number of times, the Nigerian Customs Service have raised these issues, complained about it. MOUs have been signed, and they are broken as soon as they are signed.
When you say that they are not complying, we're talking about the ECOWAS protocol on transit now, covering all ECOWAS countries.
Exactly.
So are there particular countries that are breaching this agreement? Because I know that Nigeria's position as one of the reasons for the partial closure of its border now is because of an obvious breach, according to Nigeria, of this protocol on transit.
Exactly.
So who's breaching?
Number one is Benin Republic. Two will be Niger, and other have one way or the other that they have been breaching it. But the chief culprit is Benin Republic, because there's a seaport there, and whenever containers berth on transit to Nigeria, they're expected not to tamper with the seal, provide escort to the destination border. It could be Seme or Idiroko. Hand them over to us for proper examination before clearance. But that's not been the case. At a certain point, they came back to us saying that, look, you are a big brother. We are not as rich as you are. We don't have vehicles to use for this escort. Nigeria bent backward to support them with Hilux patrol vehicles. They did what resembled compliance for a period of 2-3 weeks, and they reneged. And somehow, we've been playing this big brother. Somehow, we've been tolerating that. We said, okay, let us assess these containers and collect duty. And the question is, how long can we continue, or how long should we continue to play this big brother role that is fraught with all sorts of economic and security consequences? We are lucky as a nation. We have a leadership that is decisive. The federal government of Nigeria said, look, enough is enough. There must be something that will stem the tide of the security challenges we're having. And that's why the Office of the National Security Advisor pulls security forces together from the Armed Forces of Nigeria, Nigerian Police Force, Nigerian Customs Service, Nigerian Immigration Service, and operatives of the intelligence agencies to engage in a joint security exercise, codenamed Exercise Swift Response.
We'll get to talk about that joint security operations, but before we get there, now prior to Nigeria's decision on its closure of its borders, was there a neutral ground on which maybe the country had a conversation with other ECOWAS countries that were, according to Nigeria, allegedly breaching this ECOWAS protocol on transit?
I have just said that now that we've raised this issue a number of times. In fact, there are agreements, there are recommitment, MOUs, dating back to 2003.
With Benin?
Several, with Benin specifically. And they have consistently and continuously operated in the breach of these agreements.
So what about other ECOWAS countries that will bear the consequences of Nigeria's closure of its borders? Say Ghana.
Maybe that is why they will now see the need to bring pressure to bear on the corporates, because we are a family. And if we are a family and one member of the family decides to engage in activities that compromise the security, personal security and well-being of the senior brother, then the other siblings should be able to rise up in defense and in support of the senior brother so that he can continue to provide effective leadership. Bring pressure to bear on the other member of the family that is not acting in good faith to key into the line. That's what it is.
If Nigeria's position now, from one of the details that we've gathered from the meeting that Nigeria has had with Ghana in recent times on its border closure, Nigeria's position is that it is not singling out countries within ECOWAS to, say, directly suffer from its closure of its borders. But if you say now that Nigeria has been in conversation with Benin Republic for a while, it's not getting results, hence the closure of its borders, does it not begin to look like Nigeria took the position to close its borders as a way to make a particular country suffer?
The closure of the border is not targeted at any specific country. By the way, it's not only Benin Republic that is breaching this ECOWAS protocol on transit. But I use Benin Republic as kind of frontline nation that is in the breach. Why? Because they have a seaport. Most of the things that are transited into Niger in breach of the ECOWAS protocol on transit, some of them arrived at the Cotonou port. And therefore, we can't shy away from mentioning Benin Republic as a key nation in the breach of the ECOWAS protocol on transit, which has grave economic and security consequences on our great nation.
Benin Republic, Ghana are obviously very directly impacted by this closure. Which other countries within ECOWAS are breaching the protocol?
Well, the ECOWAS protocol on transit, as I explained to you, it's about goods that is passing through your own country to a neighboring country on transit. So naturally, it will be our neighboring countries. We don't share border with Ghana. If Ghana is bearing any brunt now, it will be as a result of the consequences of breaching the ECOWAS protocol on transit by our immediate neighbors. If our immediate neighbors comply with the protocol, it will mean that any other nation will not have any consequence. By the way, this has nothing to do with ETLS. Yes, ETLS might just be a kind of a collateral, having a collateral effect of the ongoing partial border closure. But it's not targeted at ETLS. But as it is, if borders are shut, even if your goods fall into the ETLS provision, it has to bear some of the uneasy consequences within this temporary period.
Why you continue to emphasize the fact that no country is targeted by Nigeria's border policy? Ghana's foreign minister has specifically asked that Nigeria, in its big brother capacity, allows goods from Ghana into Nigeria, just in the way that goods from Nigeria are being allowed without hindrance into Ghana. What happens to the principle of reciprocity in this case? Well,
just yesterday, around 7:30, I was live online with Star FM in Ghana, and this same question, somebody asked me the same question. Why are we not allowing Ghana products into the country? And I gave example. You resume work at 8 o'clock every day, and you wake up this morning, you are going to your office, and there have been some kind of crimes and criminalities along the road. Police shut down the road. I mean, you are not a criminal. You're just going to your work. You've not committed anything. But because there have been an incident, you are now held up. There's a traffic jam. You are forced to either navigate and look for another longer route to your office. Those are the consequences you bear when actions are taken in the interest of a greater majority.
Now, if Ghana says that as a result of Nigeria's policy on its borders, there are truckloads of goods waiting at the borders for access into the country, money is being wasted. That brings to mind the question of whether or not there were initial conversations and forward warnings ahead of Nigeria's border closure to the ECOWAS countries. Was the policy thought through well enough? Were they prepared for the closure?
I do not think that there's any member of the ECOWAS region that we deliberately feign ignorance of the fact that Nigeria have, as far as customs is concerned, have raised this issue a number of times at our regional meetings. So it's not a new development. It's something that has been ongoing. And I think at the diplomatic level, other nations, just as I use the analogy of a family who are equal members and are brothers and sisters, should come together to bring pressures to bear on the erring members of the family.
So let's attempt some specificities now. When was the border closed?
20th August.
When at some point there were some information in the news headlines, Nigeria moves from partial border closure to total border closure. Was it total at any point in time?
Well, the word total was just a fabrication of those who choose to deliberately misinterpret what the Comptroller General of Customs said. He made that comment in response to a journalist's question who had asked if Nigeria was considering allowing some trucks that he termed legitimate to enter the country. And in response to that question, the Comptroller General of Customs said, no, for this period, all goods will not be allowed entry or exit while consultation lasts. And until our political leaders come to an agreement, to a decision where we will see reason to open the borders will remain closed to those goods. So he's talking about goods within this period. But then he even gave an advice that within this period, if you are desperate about bringing your goods into the country, you could choose the seaport. If it's the type that can be brought through the airport, you could also use the airport. We are not averse to receiving them through airport or seaport. But land borders for this period, no.
We'll pen the conversation here now and take a quick break. We'll be back for more. We have been talking to Deputy Comptroller of Customs, Nigeria, Joseph Attah, on Beyond Markets. We are still in conversation with the Deputy Comptroller of Customs, Nigeria, Mr. Joseph Attah, talking Nigeria's policy on its border closure. Many thanks to you, sir, for staying with us on Beyond Markets.
Thank you.
Remember to follow conversations on Twitter. We are at CNBC Africa. Use the hashtag Beyond Markets. So you emphasized earlier, reiterated the fact that Nigeria's border policy is not targeted at any of the ECOWAS countries. Now, shall we talk the positives for Nigeria? There are figures milling around in the papers, 4.7 billion naira to 5.8 billion naira coming to Nigeria as benefits from its border closure. How true is that?
It's true. Let's start with the seizures. The joint security team have made a number of spectacular seizures. 317 suspected smugglers have been arrested, 146 illegal migrants. Those are people that come in without valid documents. They pass through the bushes, the porous borders, and all that. And just imagine that out of the 146, if only 30 out of that 146 we are coming into this country with the mindset to cause havoc, where do you think we get people that kidnap, attack, and cause all sorts of mayhem and run back? Those are those kind of people. We've arrested, okay, let's talk about rice. We've seized over 21,000 bags of parboiled rice. We've seized 131 MPK bags of fertilizers. Those are raw materials for improvised explosives. We've seized some arms, some ammunitions. We've seized 4,675 jerrycans of petroleum products and 2 tankers, a number of other seizures, drugs and all that. The total value of all this is over 1 trillion. that have been seized so far. Now, coming to the side of revenue, of course, because of the partial border closure, some people are not diverting through the seaport, and that is raising our revenue. Of course, we are within the ICT unit. Figures of revenue drop real time, as you can see there on the screen. So it's true. The month of August, we made a total of over 109 billion. September, we have 115 billion, over 115 billion. So revenue is on the increase. And then the positive side of it is that patronage of local food products, especially rice, is now on the increase. Our farmers are smiling to the banks. They are expanding on their farms. They are engaging more hands, and that means creating more job opportunity. More investments are going on. The federal government is robustly supporting our farmers, and the agricultural sector is having it very, very, very good.
I know you do have figures showing real time on benefits or financial benefits that come from Nigeria's policy on border closure. But when you talk about rice importation and local capacity, do you have figures justifying the fact that the policy on the borders are directly impacting local production for consumption?
They are indeed impacting. I just came out from a 3-state sensitization tour with officials of the National Orientation Agency, and some farmers were telling us real time that, look, now in a local market, they can sell 20 trailers of rice now, as against selling just about half of a trailer before this exercise. So that means that the patronage is increasing. It means that their revenue income is increasing. It means that the robust federal government support for the agricultural sector is yielding positive dividends.
Aside from being the spokesperson for the Nigeria Customs Service, you're also the spokesman for the Joint Security Operations. Speak to me on what this entails and how it can be tied to the border policy.
Well, you see, there are so many benefits in this joint exercise. We've said to ourselves that though we may be divided by the colors of the uniform we wear, we are united in securing our nation, we are united in securing our people. The ongoing exercise is providing platform for synergy, it's providing platform for shared experiences, and going forward, Nigeria can only be better for it. We are bonding together and getting to share experiences and sharing knowledge. Going forward, I mean, the huge benefit of what is going on, even if this is called off today, is the fact that we've bonded.
Border closure now for Nigeria is partial, is temporary, is yielding results according to the details that you've given us and as shown on the dashboard.
Exactly.
But what is the strategy of the Nigerian customs going forward?
Well, you know that an exercise like this cannot go on without intelligence reports on daily or sometimes even hourly basis. So reports are being collected, submitted to the Office of the National Security Advisors. Observations are being made. The ongoing consultation, both at the operational and political level, are yielding some kind of signals that are being put together. They will be analyzed. Going forward, appropriate decision will be taken, including acquisition of non-intrusive equipment that will help customs perform their job even better.
So shall we take a moment to talk about one of the most controversial issues with the Nigerian customs at the moment with regards to the closure of car marts and checking of custom documents on vehicles already imported into the country and already in use?
There's nothing controversial about our relationship with car dealers. It's been an ongoing thing. Before this exercise of sealing their car marts, they've been coming to us pleading for opportunity to regularize documentations of their vehicles. You know, sometimes 2 years back, the federal government of Nigeria brought about a new fiscal policy that restricted importation of vehicles to seaports. Now, before the implementation of that fiscal policy, some of them already had smuggled vehicles in their possession, including the ones that they take advantage of the porous border to bring. So they were begging for us to give them opportunities to come and regularize their documentation. The Nigerian Customs Service have been very reluctant to grant that because how are you sure that they will not take advantage of the porous border to sneak in fresh ones to take advantage of that window? So with the partial closure in force, the service considered this particular period a very appropriate time to grant them what they have been asking for. So when we sealed the mat, they sent their representative here to the customs headquarters. They engaged the management of the Nigerian Customs Service and agreed, a reprieve was given to them that, look, if we are to go strictly by the law, we are supposed to seize everything, arrest you, and prosecute you. But in the spirit of the ongoing effort of the federal government to better empower Nigerians, to stimulate local economic activities, we will not seize them. What you need to do now is pay duty on the ones that duties have not been paid with 20% levy. But if you have any other one that are not in the car mats, if you voluntarily bring them, you pay duty without penalty. Additionally, the Comptroller General of Customs graciously approved that all vehicles that are currently in detention, that is the ones that have even been intercepted and are under detention, you can also go pay duty with 25% levy, punishment, that's levy, and take your vehicle and go, except the ones that have already been seized, taken to court, and condemned by the court. Those ones is out of our jurisdiction. So we have come to terms with that. They left here so happy, and as we speak, there are kind of ongoing efforts to pay up.
Is the sealing of car mats by customs, is it not reactionary as opposed to being proactive? Why wait for them to smuggle the cars in or bring them in through the back door and then seal the mats to get them to respond?
Okay, you see, the act of smuggling is a criminal activity that is done by human beings. And as long as you have human beings, there will always be smugglers. Get it straight. Even the most developed countries of this world are still grappling with the challenge of smuggling. Otherwise, you wouldn't be hearing America talking about the possibility of building walls. So smuggling is never a thing that a nation can say is wiped out 100%. With that said, I also have you know that we have Nigerians, especially the border community dwellers, who will rather support the smugglers against the custom operatives. We have our intelligence that have proven to us that some smugglers buy handsets and give to some people whose job is to monitor the movement of anti-smuggling troops. And then they call them and say, look, I have seen the patrol team moving to this place. When you are coming, move right or move left. Hit the other village, and then you go to the highway. Don't pass through this road. They are here. This is act of sabotage. And it is through this process that you have these things in the city, on the highway, and when you see custom going after them, you say, where we are there when they pass.
Now, the strategy or the styles adopted by the smugglers speaks to the fact that they are quite forward-thinking and strategic. May not be the right thing to do. Actually, it's not the right thing when you think about the law, but speaks to strategy on their part. So this raises, in my mind, the question as to whether or not the Nigerian Customs is looking at revisiting or beefing up its strategies also, its anti-smuggling strategies. Because we have situations now, due to conniving with residents and communities, like you highlighted earlier, the cars are brought into the country, and then Nigerians driving on the roads are stopped at points, and papers, their custom duties or papers for their custom duties are requested from Nigerians driving their cars, going to work and going about their normal duties. Now,
don't get me wrong. I am not saying that the Nigerian Customs Service consists of saints. Like it is often said, out of every 12, there is a Judas. Yes, we have few people within the service who may compromise here and there, and when these people are caught, they are dealt with. But what I'm saying is that while we punish the Judas, that is just one out of the 12, let us not be unmindful of the 11 that are working correctly, that are doing the right thing. Let's commend them. Let's support them to succeed. Talking about strategies, of course, strategies will always be there. Of course, the criminal will always think of how to circumvent the rules. And as they come, we begin to think of ways, including, as I said, the deployment of more robust, non-intrusive equipment that will help us do our job even better. Deployment of intelligence agencies. We have agents that we deploy covertly, covert operation to better monitor this. There are situations where we even, out of strategy, deliberately monitor the movement of goods when we know that any attempt to intercept could lead to some casualty. We could deliberately monitor it until it lands at a particular place, and then we storm that place. And then people will say, where we are then when they pass. We know what we are doing.
Many thanks to you for your time on Beyond Markets, sir. We'll have to leave the conversation here for now. Definitely, this will be a continuing conversation. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Deputy Comptroller of Customs, Nigeria, Joseph Attah. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
And that's it on Beyond Markets for today. Many thanks to you for joining us. We have been talking Nigeria's policy on its borders. I am Christy Cole. Many thanks for joining us again. Remember to follow conversations on Twitter at CNBC Africa. Use the hashtag Beyond Markets. I am at Christy Cole P. Bye for now.